to kind of go through the storytelling of one of them so that everybody gets a better understanding. We're going to have stopping points to talk about how we started with their intro, kind of their body, and then how they wrapped it up. Afterwards, on the agenda, we're actually going to go through how your presentation should look and then how to maintain your confidence through your presentation. Okay? So, let's get started. This is Evangeline. I believe her business pitch was Clip It. It's going to be...
Yep. So... This is the presentation that Evangeline did last year. She actually did quite good. She got third place. Yeah, third place. And we're going to go through some aspects of her presentation, how it relates to the storyboard worksheet we gave you. So, Sydney, let's get to it.
Hello, everyone. I'm Evangeline Frigantis, founder and CEO of Clip It. Before I get started, I would like to tell you a little bit about my team. For as long as I remember, I have always had an entrepreneurial spirit. I started baking when I was 10 years old, and a few years later founded my first business, Cake by Evangeline, where I made personalized cupcakes. In 2015, I was recognized by the National Federation of Independent Businesses of one of the top 100 young entrepreneurs of that year. For this new endeavor, I have carefully selected my team, starting with Kayla Siegel, my Chief Financial Marketing Officer of Clip It. Sean, my product developer, has been a part of Clip It from the beginning. He created my first and current prototype. 3 years ago, I was a freshman in college and noticed a common problem among my fellow dormmates and I. Making our bed was very cumbersome, especially in a room where space is at a premium. Everyone's bed is typically up against two walls, making it difficult to make without a struggle. Sometimes end up on the floor, causing it to come in contact with mysterious debris that could potentially end up in our beds. Studies have been proven to show those who make their bed in the morning are up to 207% more likely to become millionaires. If you have not seen the University of Texas commencement speech by U.S. Marine Admiral McRaven, he says, if you want to change the world, start off by making your bed. If you make your bed every morning, you have accomplished the first task of the day. It will give you a small sense of pride and encourages you to do another task and another. And by the end of the day, that one task completed will turn into many tasks. Making your bed will also reinforce the fact that the little things in life do matter. If you can't do the little things right, you'll never be able to do the big things right. And if by chance you have a miserable day, you will come home to a bed that is made, that you made. And a made bed gives you encouragement that tomorrow will be better. However, I do understand why so many people aren't making their beds. It's a hassle, especially in a confined space. I thought there had to be a better way. That was when Clip It was born.
Okay. So, that was her introduction. When she had started, she kind of built a rapport. She explained, this is where I got my business experience, and this is where I noticed things were a little bit wonky. She explained how she got her start, what the issue was. She established a problem, and then she's going to get into how she's going to solve the problem. So when you're breaking down your presentations, you want to think of it in 3 layers. We'd sent you an email. It's going to have a worksheet for a storyboard. That's also going to help you break it down into 3 layers. So that was her first layer. Okay? Next, we're going to get into how she plans on solving the problem. Can anybody tell me what the problem is?
Making your bed.
Why?
The hassle of making your bed.
And what else? It was one of the images that she had put up. What was the one, really gross thing that no one wants to deal with in terms of having bed sheets in a dorm?
Animals.
I'm sorry?
Animals.
Did anybody notice the bugs?
Yeah.
I don't want bugs in my bed. I was just thinking, oh my goodness, that really is kind of a problem, right? So keep that in mind. Establish what the issue is going to be. That way we understand why we need your product so much, okay? That should be in your introduction. So let's see how she plans on solving this, okay?
Clip-its are 3 specially designed clips that attach on the long side of your bed frame between the mattress and the wall, keeping your bedding in place by holding it securely to the frame. As you can see in this video, if you don't have access to all 4 sides of your bed, making it is a very tedious task. Clip It has a unique design with one flat side which allows the bed to remain against the wall, as well as a larger surface area than your average clip. This is made to safely hold your bedding without ripping your linens in the process. With Clip It, making your bed is easy. Now when you get up in the morning, you simply pull over your bedding and the bed makes itself. This is also at University of Maryland.
Okay.
There we go. On April 25th,
Yeah, let's go a little bit
2016, I drafted my first design of Clip It. Sean and I created my current prototype, taking into account the average bed frame size, making it as universal as possible. Initially, I will market my product directly to college students across the nation. Moving forward, I plan to target the sleepaway camp market. I will also like to investigate alternatives to plastic, such as biodegradable material, making Clip-It an environmentally friendly product. Like all new products, we face potential threat of competitors. There is only one slightly similar product on the market called Cover Clamps, but it is marketed towards couples who steal each other's covers at night and operates for a completely different purpose. We have collected input from the public regarding general interest and product viability via an open survey and have received a lot of useful feedback. We posted on social media and so far have over 200 responses, of which we were able to analyze and apply our strategy. As you can see here, we have received a lot of positive feedback. We have determined that there is a demand. 74% of people surveyed said they would purchase Clip-It. We plan to generate our initial capital through crowdfunding services such as Indiegogo and Kickstarter, as well as potential loans from family and friends. Once our design is finalized, we will begin manufacturing. We will start off by selling Clip-It through our online store, obtaining campus ambassadors to promote products, and work towards getting into big box retailers such as university bookstores. Based on my projections, I have created a cost analysis and pro forma spreadsheet which you have in front of you. Our selling price for a set of 3 is $10.99 plus shipping. My profit would be $6.04 per unit. Our expenses will be lower in the beginning because I will be working out of my home, but in the future I plan to have my own space as well as higher marketing costs. According to the National Center for Education Statistics, in fall 2016, the total undergraduate enrollment degree-granting post-secondary institutions was 16 million, an increase of 28% from the year 2000. Between 3 million and 4 million kids enter their freshman years at universities across the nation. This is the initial target market we aim to capture. There are over 2,400 schools in the United States, and one of our many goals is to end up in as many of these as possible. Over time, as our sales increase, we'll be able to order Clip-It in larger quantities, decreasing our cost per unit and increasing our profit margin. In year two, we should become profitable. We are currently in the process of obtaining a design patent. Thank you for your attention, and let me know if you have any questions.
A lot to pull apart there. During her, we'll say the middle part of her storyboard, right? We already know what the problem is. She had explained how she's going to fix it, but she also included some pretty awesome elements. Did anyone catch the social responsibility part of that? Biodegradable clips, right? That's something amazing to incorporate into how you're going to solve things because you're tackling 2 different problems there as well, right? What's one thing that we've learned about in one of our previous workshops that she did that might not be the best for your presentation? Did anybody catch it?
She threw a lot of information at us.
Exactly. Did anybody read what was on the board when she had it up there?
Did you see that financial statement that everyone ignored? Yeah. Yeah, what she did good was that she didn't spend too much time on it. She just she had it on the screen. She showed talked about some key parts, and then just moved on. But having that financial statement up on the board is totally not necessary. You guys don't have to worry about that unless you really, really want to show it.
Before we actually get into some of the things that we're worried about, one thing that I thought was amazing was the video demonstration, right? I thought that it was incredible to have a visual of what she was talking about, but I would have put that towards the end. Can anyone tell me why I would have put that towards the end? Any ideas? Yes, Felix.
Maybe it's cutting into her presentation with time, and she's rushing towards the end.
Right.
So
exactly.
play the video out, and then at the end rather than in the middle.
Did you all feel that conclusion coming on, or was it kind of a surprise? Like, as she was going through it, did you feel like she was wrapping things up, or did you feel like she was about to spit some more facts at you? Just keep going, right? So I personally would have put that video towards the end because it's an awesome way to explain why people would need it and how easy it is.
Yep.
Okay?
Yeah, and it would have left it on a, not on a good note, but she ended it with numbers. The video at the end, it was it was kind of funny. It was cute. It wasn't done too professionally, so it wasn't intimidating. I would have been, leaving it on a very good note.
So let's tell you guys how you guys are going to leave it on a good note, right? Now, I believe a majority of us are going to be using PowerPoints, right?
Yep.
For those of us who are going to be using Prezi, we thought it was kind of important to explain how to translate those words, what you might say that would be on a financial statement, and turn it into something that you can put into a presentation. Okay, you want to take your core values and translate that into sort of pictorial metaphors. So let's say that I want to start a Starbucks, right? I want to start Starbucks. That's my company because I love selling coffee. Do I necessarily need to write down I love selling coffee on the board?
No.
No, I don't. What's a good representation of, me wanting to sell coffee? Like, if my product is going to be coffee, what can I put on the board?
Coffee.
Coffee. I can put on coffee on the board. And if I'm telling you, right now I'm in Seattle, but I don't think I want to stay here. Maybe I want to go around the world. I don't necessarily need to write down I want to go around the world. What's a good representation of me wanting to travel?
Our plane around the world.
Sure, So if we're going, so let's say I'm up front and I'm presenting these things, right? I'll say, you know what? I absolutely loved coffee. And I wasn't sure, how many other people would share this passion with me. But when I started in this small town in Seattle, it turns out a lot of people loved it. Maybe I even want to go across the country. And if I'm good enough, around the globe. Did I need words up here to be able to tell you guys that? Neither do you, okay? So when if you plan on using Prezi, that's where you want to go with this. You don't necessarily have to have all of those words up on the board, okay? It's very important to keep in mind, you want a design that's going to be functional, a design that has purpose. You don't want to accessorize. You don't need all that extra stuff on the board. The focus should be on you, not on, they shouldn't be worried about reading the board. They should be worried about what you're saying, okay?
Okay, that's a perfect segue. So when you're doing your actual presentation, like, the stuff that you actually have on the board, think billboards, right? So have you guys seen billboards? I'm not talking about like billboards for like the music, but like actual billboards. Usually they don't have a lot of words, right? And the words they do have are not even complete sentences. Why? Because that's there to just grab your attention and hold on to it. What you want to do is, what you don't want to do is you don't want a huge block of text on your presentation slides. You want something that's simple, that's easy to digest for the audience. You want them to be easily able to know what your business is. And that's what you want to do. You want to think billboard.
When you have those short texts on the board, you also want to incorporate some pictures. One picture can speak 1,000 words. It's just like the coffee cups, okay? That being said, something else that really matters is typography, okay? You will have a limited amount of words on the presentation board. The words that you do have, you want them to pop. So if you've been paying attention to the slides that we're showing you, there's a dark background, but all of the words that are important, what colors are they? Right up against that black, right? So make sure that you keep in mind, and you don't want that same old 12 font, Times New Roman up there either. You want something that's going to engage your audience, okay? You can also throw in a couple symbols out there that are recognizable that might build some sort of rapport between you and the audience, some sort of connection. Just be careful. Make sure you keep it in a business kind of aspect, okay?
Now, this slide is, I'm not going to lie, it's like a little unnecessarily deep, the title. But what it basically means is that you want to have the information you do present be meaningful, right? It should be easy to understand. It should be nice to look at. And most importantly, it should be easy for the judges to make decisions on and to evaluate you on with. Okay, so definitely quality over quantity is king here. You don't want to just have a bunch of text on the words for everyone to ignore. The stuff that you have on the screen, that's a reference point to what you're actually saying. Okay, the judges and the crowd are going to be looking at two things. Okay, two things that's in like what they're actually going to be looking at. They're going to be looking at the presentation. They're also going to be looking at you. You want both of them to look good. Okay, you guys are 50% there. You guys look good. Make the presentation look as good as you. Okay.
That being said, it's just like Bill Foote said. He loves accounting. Does he want to see a financial statement like an income statement on your board? No. So there's no reason why it should have to be up there, okay?
Sorry, can you go back for 1 second?
Yep.
Just to add to that, you'll see there's a couple links on the screen to help you with that. Tableau.com as well as PictoChart are free resources. Tableau is really easy to use and it works with Microsoft Excel. So you can upload any data that you have and it'll make it look pretty. We like to call it meaningful or actionable information. So they keep saying not to use those financial statements. If you want to show them like, hey, here's what the profits could be, that's a pretty way to do it. When Evangeline was talking about all the different numbers of colleges, that's something where you could use PictoChart and make an infographic. Hopefully you've seen infographics before. And So those are 2 free resources that can help you to make that information, especially the financial information, a little more readable for the audience.
Just
Thank you.
Thank you. Just be careful when you're figuring out those charts and whatnot that they fit within the structure of your presentation. So with these slides that we're showing you, they all kind of have a theme, right? They all look pretty similar. Make sure that when you're picking out those resources using the picto chart and whatnot, they fit the structure of your presentation. With Evangeline's, for example, she had sort of a crumpled paper background that never really left. You know, it was reoccurrent in her presentation.
Yep. And that's absolutely key because when you have a clear structure, like with the storyboard worksheet we gave you, the intro, the body, the conclusion, it makes it a lot easier for the audience to know what you're talking about. And when you're moving, you know, from slide to slide, from topic to topic, especially for the judges. Because, you know, let's say, so, you know, the judge criteria, one of the criteria is business concept, right? So when you have a slide that says business concept, they could be like, oh yeah, that's what he's talking about. It's going to make their life evaluating you so much easier. And the feedback you're going to get is just going to be so much better. Okay. Now we're going to get into the real nitty. Yeah, what's up?
So, does the 5 minutes that you have, does that include the questions?
Nope. 5 minute extra for the questions. The 5 minute you have in the beginning, that's for the actual presentation. Okay, so now we're going to get into the good stuff about public speaking. So, who here is nervous about public speaking? Yeah. Okay, this is a better question. Who's done public speaking before?
Oh, wow.
What have you done for public speaking, Kai?
Presentation in sophomore year.
Awesome. Anyone else? Yeah, what's up?
Teach classes on traditional Chinese herbal medicine at the Mid-Atlantic School of Herbalism.
My man, that sounds really cool. I gotta be in your class. I want to be in this guy's class. I need some of that. Anyone else? Anyone else does any public speaking?
After that.
Okay.
Wait, in Chinese or in English?
In English.
Oh.
That would have been.
Yeah, I need to be in his class. You know, the fear of public speaking, at least the anxiety of it, I think it's normal. I think it's necessary. It definitely is real, but you can take steps to alleviate that and give yourself an easier time when you're on the stage. I remember the first time I did public speaking, it was at my high school graduation. I was the commencement speaker, and man, the day of graduation, dude, I was a nervous wreck, dude. I was like, palms are sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy. That's what I'm talking about, right? And the day of, right, I went to the bathroom. I literally gave myself a pep talk. And when they called my name up to go to the podium, I went up to the podium. And I was just thinking to myself, what am I doing up here? Like, who am I trying to impress? Like, what am I doing? Well, there was a girl in the crowd I was trying to impress, but that's a story for another day. But anyways, when I actually did start giving my speech, everything was bang on. It was smooth. It was perfect. No stuttering, nothing. And the one thing I learned from that 5 minutes of giving that speech was that 60% of public speaking comes in the preparation. It absolutely does. This workshop is called Presentation Tips and Tricks, but if you're not well prepared and well rehearsed and you try to go on the stage and you try to wing it, you're not going to trick anyone into liking your presentation, let alone wanting to invest money into it. And I know some of you guys are really nervous about public speaking, especially on this scale. But I'll tell you this one. If you are well prepared and you're well organized and you're well rehearsed, you go up there, everything will fall into place and everything will come together. I promise you it always will. Okay, and when you start opening your mouth to talk, you're going to find it really, really easy because you've made it easy on yourself by preparing well. Does that make sense? Preparation is absolutely key. And you're going to do public speaking no matter when. You're going to do it once in your life. Maybe it's for personal reason. Maybe it's for career reasons. And we've all done public speaking, right? We've all taken classes where you have to go in front of the class and present. This is no different. Raptor Tank is no different. It's just on a different scale. Because at the end of the day, you're still relaying information from you to the audience. This is just on a bigger scale. Let's go to the next one. One way to give a killer presentation like I did on that speech, be conversational. And what that means is that, for me, what that means is you want to get the audience involved. You want to ask questions like I did in the beginning. How many people are nervous about public speaking, right? That's a good way to interact with the crowd and to get them be involved in your presentation so you're not just spitting, the scripts that you've read.
It's also important to note that it's a little different when you're giving a speech in front of the audience. You can do some pretty cool stuff that wouldn't really work in conversations. For example, if I were to say, Nong shoes are the best shoes that I've ever seen in the entire universe. And I'm going to tell you why. It'd be kind of weird to say if I was just talking to Kai, right? As in that Kai would be like, what is she talking about? Okay, well, when you're ready, let's hear it, right? So you can add some of that stuff in there too. It's also important to note that you will be memorizing some facts. That's going to be a little bit different than in a normal, conversation.
You
Okay?
want to be scripted, but you definitely don't want to sound like it was up.
So, I don't know if you guys covered this when I was outside, but in terms of the video you guys showed us, the girl had like thick papers of just like plain script that she was kind of like,
The note card?
yeah,
Yeah.
she was like reading off of it, and then she was also like standing in one place and things like that. Like, first, are we allowed to like move around the stage? And second, do you guys recommend to have like that stack of note cards?
It's a great question. I would not recommend necessarily pacing back and forth across the stage, mainly because it's very distracting. When people are trying to hear what you're saying, they'll be more so paying attention to your movement rather than what you have to say. That stack of note cards, though,
I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt. You can't move. You'll find out at the rehearsal day. There's a purple circle on the floor, and you can't move from it because MCTV will be filming. And so if you move from that circle, it's distracting. I'm sorry, they didn't know that because we're figuring that out now. But MCTV we worked with last week, and they're going to have a purple circle on the stage, so you need to stay on the circle to keep you on film.
How big is the circle?
Within the circle, move if you want to like do a spin and show off those sexy shoes. Like don't go outside the circle.
I mean, how big will the circle be, sort of?
It's a pretty big circle.
Okay.
It's probably like from this back wall, to there is probably.
Oh, so it's not that bad.
Yeah, it's not like you're like trapped and you're like.
You'll fit in it.
I
You'll
just
fit in
want to
it.
clarify because
You'll fit in it.
Cindy's absolutely right about not being distracting moving,
Yeah.
but because of the filming aspect, you're a little more restricted.
and as for the note cards, yes, you will have note cards if you need to. We recommend note cards because sometimes when you get up there in front of that crowd of around 300 people, you might get a little nervous, and it's good to
300
have
people plus being filmed.
plus being filmed.
Yeah.
So it's good to have.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's good to have that backup. There's nothing wrong with having note cards.
Yep.
Okay.
And yeah. So one more thing. You have the note cards, but if you want to just not use it, it's up to you.
I would just recommend keep in mind flip the note cards, even if you think that you're not going to end up using them, because there might be an area where you think, what was I going to say again? It's good to just be able to glance down if you need them. Okay. We had a question over here.
Yeah. So are they gonna like film you like walking on the stage? Because that kind of like affects me because I want to ride like the board onto on the stage. So mine's like a skateboard, right? So like I wanna like ride the board and like
into the circle.
Yeah.
That's fine. Let me clarify, and you'll see this at the rehearsal. There's gonna be someone from MCTV that's gonna be putting on they call it a lavalier or wireless mic on you. They'll help to do that. They put like a cord down your wherever they need to, and you'll have that way it'll pick up your audio. When you'll have that done before you're going next. So like if Sydney and Nong are presenting and I know I'm next, they're gonna start getting the wireless mic on. When they're done, they're gonna walk down the small stairs on the stage you'll see on rehearsal day. And then there's going to be some kind of in-between stuff they'll have going on stage before you're going to go on next. When they announce you, you're going to walk up onto the stage. Now, if there's something like that where we need you to ride the board on, we might have you just hang out backstage at that time and then you can ride on. And that's fine. Just try to ride into the circle. Okay?
All right.
Does that help you guys?
Yep.
You can just
also about the
ride
note
into the
cards,
circle.
you guys should bring them anyway to hold on to so you're not like going
Definitely.
like this with your hands.
Definitely.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay.
Yep.
Now, it's very important that while you're up there, you consider your audience. We've had a number of workshops, and you guys have learned a lot of jargon. But who's going to be sitting out there in the audience other than your entrepreneur panel that's going to be judging you? Exactly. It's going to be people.
Regular people. Okay.
Honestly,
Yeah.
it's going to be people just like you and me, right? So when you're, having things on the board that might not make sense to them, keep in mind that there's also the audience choice, and they might not necessarily vote for something that they don't quite understand.
Yep.
Okay? With that being said, please, please, please do not use words you don't understand. Okay? Please don't use words you don't understand. That can get messy later on, especially if there's a question from a judge about that word, for example. Maybe they don't know, and they're just like, you know what, can you just explain to me what that means? I didn't understand what you were trying to get at there, and you're up there like, I wish I could. You know? That's a problem. Okay?
And also, the Audience Choice Award is $500.
Keep that in mind. Now, with that being said, while you are up there, please build a rapport. We've been saying this from the info sessions, from the beginning workshops, from the kickoff. We're here for you. We're here for your business. This is your story. Don't be afraid to tell it. With Evangeline's presentation, she said, I was in bed. I got tired of the sheets falling. Then I realized bugs could get on them. That's gross. I don't want that for me. I'm sure you don't want that for you. That's a story, right? Don't be afraid to tell it. You should also keep in mind that when you're telling that story, make sure it's clear, okay? You are still going to be doing this presentation in front of a panel of judges, so it's cool to let your story be known. Just make sure there is a purpose for what you're trying to get through, okay? You're still going with a business.
Exhibit confidence. Now, this is probably one of the foundations of public speaking. This is absolutely key. Everyone should be doing it. Why do you think confidence is so important in public speaking to an audience?
Because if you're really excited and enthused about something, the people hearing it are going to be more enthused and excited about it.
Absolutely right. Any other reasons why confidence might be so important? Very important to public speaking? Yeah.
You can build trust with your audience.
Absolutely right. You know, when you show confidence, that means you're confident in your business. When you're confident in your business, the judges and the audience can also be confident in your business. It also shows that you're competent and that you're going to follow through on what you're about to say. It builds the relationship between you and the audience. One of the ways how you can build confidence, be conscious of body language. Make eye contact. Whether you actually make it or you just look at people's foreheads like I do sometimes, it shows that you're actually building the trust between you and the audience. Another thing is body language, okay? And listen to this very carefully. I'm not saying, please don't do this, please don't do that, just don't do this, okay? When you're up there, don't do this. Okay, you might want to flex your biceps or whatever, but just don't do it. Don't do this, none of that, okay? Open up, you know? Do some hand gestures. I do a lot of hand gestures. Professor Weiss will attest to that. Mr. Lang, last year when I did my Enactus audition, he said he's afraid that I'm going to pull a pigeon out of my jacket because of how many hand gestures I do. But, show them hands, right? Show them hands. No, I'm not asking you to square up with people, but show them hands. A study showed that when you show an open palm, it gains trust from the audience because it shows you have nothing to hide, right? And, it is absolutely key. If you don't have confidence, fake it, and, just open up, right? Also, one more thing. You guys should be showing confidence because you're here at our very last workshop because, you guys obviously have that entrepreneurial spirit, right? You guys obviously have that special something that you can't really pinpoint, but you know it's there. So when you're up there, just show it. Express yourselves. Have fun with it, right?
How many of you guys went to that last info session? Just by show of hands. How many of us went to the last info session? Do you remember? I remember seeing some of you. I'm not going to call you out, but I remember seeing some of you guys. Do you remember how many people were in the room? Do you remember how crowded it? There weren't seats.
Yeah.
And out of those people, you guys are here.
Yeah.
That's something to be proud of,
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to show it.
Yeah. Express yourselves. Yeah. Like
That
I
being
said,
said.
practice. Practice in your own time. The best part about public speaking is that it's a skill that you can improve. I wasn't always this good at public speaking. You might think I was, but I wasn't. And, just keep practicing, right? In your own time. On my way to school this morning, I was practicing. When I was going to the bathroom, I was practicing. But it's a skill like playing the violin, soccer, Fortnite, same thing, right?
The name of the game is to try to be extemporaneous. That's to say, when you get on stage, it looks like you're cool, didn't practice for this at all, talking about shoes and girls, but in reality, you've spent nothing but time practicing.
Yeah.
It looks like you haven't, but it's because you're polished, okay? Now, we've kind of talked about public speaking in kind of a personal light. Let's get more so into for the context. Now, you will be presenting in front of a panel of judges, okay? That's to say, please, as we mentioned before, be as clear and concise as possible, okay? You know what you want to sell. You know why you want to sell it. Just make sure it's clear to the judges.
Yep.
For example, again, Evangeline, she had said it in the beginning. She hit you. I wanted to make sure my sheets didn't fall off the bed, right? She hit you again in the middle. This is why I want to make sure my sheets don't come off the bed. She hit you again in the end. This is why, So just make sure that those points keep coming through. You want to keep in mind what the judges are looking for. Back during the info sessions, we had made sure that you had the judges' criteria. We've been sending out emails every once in a while, throwing this back out there. Don't be afraid to reference this. As a matter of fact, we encourage you to reference this when you're developing your presentation, okay? As you present, as we stated earlier, there's going to be some keywords on the board. Again, don't be afraid to put some of those keywords there's going to be keywords on the criteria, don't be afraid to put some of those keywords on the board. That way, as they're looking through, they go, oh, look at that,
Yep.
they have it.
Yeah.
Check it
When
right
you start
off,
talking
right?
about business concept, boom, right there. They know exactly what you're talking about. It makes it easier for them to judge you. With
Okay.
a cheat sheet.
We're trying to prepare you as best as we can. One of the things we really want you to be prepared for, they will be asking you about that Q&A, those questions at the end, okay? They're not going to ask you something like, okay, we want to know your projections for 2021. We want to know how many products you plan on selling, things like that. But they just want to make sure that you know the ins and outs of your own business.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, like I said last week, when I first saw the first guy go up last year, and when the Q&A came, I thought he was going to get roasted by the judges, like the Shark Tank judges. But actually, it's not like that. It's not really, they're not going to ask you some real technical stuff like what's your projection for the next 10 years. They're not going to ask you that.
Something else I really want you guys to be prepared for, sometimes when you come up on stage and you begin talking, you get a little excited and you keep going, you only have 5 minutes to present, okay? So we will have cards saying, listen, this is your warning. You have about X amount of time left, and then you'll have a red card going up. They'll be standing in the middle of the aisles where the audience is going to be. When you see that red card come up, that means we got to cut it, okay? Keep in mind one sentence that you're going to be able to use no matter where you are in the presentation that's going to wrap everything up, okay? So, for example, if Nong just passed gas, and it's really bad, I got to evacuate the room, and I'm patient 0, none of you guys know this, I need to have something in my head to say, okay, how am I going to end this presentation and get everyone out of the room at one point? So I might say something like, and listen, I know seems very scary. I know it seems difficult. But if you follow the steps that we're giving you, I guarantee you will be successful. Now let's get out of here,
I can't believe you actually used that example. That was perfect. Wow.
So, but keep in mind, things like that do happen. Maybe you're on stage and you do forget where you are in place of your note cards, and that might take a couple seconds. Keep in mind that one sentence. That's going to wrap everything up. Okay?
Can I interrupt there about the question?
Absolutely.
I really encourage you while looking back at prior referencing to pay attention. If you can make a list of some of the questions the judges have asked other participants, and you'll see sometimes a lot of the questions are financially based.
Mm-hmm.
If you tell them like, hey, we're gonna make 200% extra revenue every year, they're gonna be like, well, that's an astronomical number. Where did that come from? As long as you know how you got there, you're okay. They're not gonna ask something as technical as 2021, what's going on, but they're going to ask you if you put something forward. They're going to ask you about your competitors. They're going to ask you the kinds of things we've been talking about in these workshops. So you want to look at some of those common questions they have, and a good way to do that is just by looking at prior competitions. If you're having a hard time, there's been cases where they've asked questions and they were like, I don't know. Especially if you haven't really thought. We had one business that was called Maryland Tutoring Services, and the judges were really interested in will you change your name, and expand and go bigger. It's okay to say, no, I want to be a business that's really focused in this area, and here's why. And it's okay to also say, I'm not really sure, I haven't thought about that yet. It's okay to, just tell them the truth. If you really don't know, don't, just get stressed out and freak out and think I lost the whole competition. It's okay to just say, I haven't really thought about that, that's a good sound good? Good fallback?
One of the things I really liked about Evangeline's presentation is she had stats on where she thought her company was going to be. And it was supported by surveys that she had done online, and she put them in the presentation. So, things like that, just make sure you know where it's coming from, like Professor Weiser said, okay?
Also, any video you use will be counted toward inside that 5-minute presentation you get.
Any what?
Any videos that you use.
Yeah, so if you use a 30-second video, that's going to count towards your presentation.
Okay? So, and we're going to have some information up on the board for you. It's just going to be the same things that we've been telling you, we've been sending you through the emails. We're going to send you again some of the measurements that you should use for your PowerPoints when you're using them for the qualifier round. I just wanted to say, I know it seems like this is really startling. Feels a little bit more real now that the workshops are kind of ending. You're probably looking at Nong and I like, you guys have done national competitions. Like, how on earth can you know how we feel, right? Well, it's like Nong had said earlier. His first speech was at commencement. For me, my first time public speaking, I was on a platform 6 feet in the air, smaller. I know it's kind of hard to imagine, right? But in front of 30 people. And I had to convince them that despite being younger than them, smaller than them, not even smarter than them, I was someone fit to lead them. I had to pitch myself. You guys have to pitch yourselves. We understand how you feel. We know it's scary. But you've been through so much already through these workshops. You will be fine. Okay? Don't be afraid to reach out. We are here for you.
Yep. So if you think we're not nervous, dude, we're scared.
My
We're
heart's
scared
beating. Yeah,
as
my
much as you
heart's
guys.
beating.
We're scared as much as you guys because we next week for rehearsal we're also going to be up there as well. It's going to be nice.
Now, do you have any questions for us?
Yeah.
How about how we prepared for this or how long we had spent preparing? Like, any questions at all? Okay?
I don't know if you're gonna go over it because it says no card per stage, but yeah, how are we gonna write down like what we're gonna bring to the stage?
What do you mean?
Like you in the video, they had like note cards. Like, are we gonna have to write it down and then send it to you guys, or how's that gonna work?
Oh, I wish I had an example. Give me 1 second, Joe. So for our note cards, we have a number of them come into us. We actually cut from, I believe, Word. We printed all, like, our entire script out from Word, and then we had cut out where we planned to speak in the segments of the cards, and we had pasted them on the cards. But we naturally have the Raptor Tank cards. Like, you guys won't have to print out Raptor Tank cards. Okay?
So to clarify, for the rehearsal day, just use maybe like index cards
Right.
is fine.
Mhm.
If you make it past the rehearsal day and you're one of the competitors, you'll be provided the note cards that you saw Evangeline and using on the screen, and you can paste whatever you want onto those note cards.
So I would recommend, when you write a script of your own, based off of your presentation, and if you do make it past the qualifier round, just cut out where you want to flip those cards, and then you'll be able to paste them on the cards that we provide you. Okay? Now, Joe, give me 1 second. I saw Jessica's hand up first. What's up?
Yeah, so do you recommend having, like, I guess, an introducing me slide, like eventually have, like, she had a team, which would make sense, like, this is, I'm the CEO, this is my CTO, this is my CFO. But, like, if it's just me, I have that type of slide.
Yeah, definitely. It's part of the intro. You should introduce yourself and tell why you're qualified to be up there speaking. Just like a little bio. Oh, this is who I am. This is what I'm doing. Make it a part of that intro. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it also makes you feel a little bit more trustworthy between you and the audience. Like, when I was able to relate with you guys, or even Nong, when he was able to relate with you guys in the beginning, it made you kind of think, maybe they might have something that I want to listen to, right? So definitely, feel free to.
And she did go with it because, she actually had like 3 people working on it too, so she made the slide for each member. Oh, that was good. You don't have to do that if you're by yourself. You could just introduce yourself in the slide if you want. Yeah.
In the very, very beginning, she did talk about where she got her business start.
Yep.
So yeah, you can do it the same way. Okay, I would definitely recommend rewatching some of these videos.
Yes.
Yeah. What's going on, Joe?
I was thinking time-wise, you'd be considering between 5 and 10 slides. Could I also bring my presentation in its complete form on a flash drive? And additionally, would I have, say, a clicker in my hand so that I could switch to the next slide, like when I chose to, timing-wise?
Okay, so your presentation, you will not need a flash drive. You're going to send that to us ahead of time.
Okay.
There's 2 deadlines. One's November 3rd, one is the 13th. And for the clicker, you're not going to have to walk up to a computer and click for your presentations. If you look back at Evangeline's, yes, she had a clicker.
She was
And
queuing somebody, yeah? No, she had a
I'm sorry.
clicker?
She had a clicker.
All right.
She did have a clicker.
Everyone's going to have a clicker.
Yeah, you'll have a clicker too.
You
Okay?
and me. Yep.
And just to clarify, you definitely can't bring it on a flash drive. We will be using the one that you sent. We have to have it ready and good to go. We also have to have seen it, so you can't
Exactly.
on your own. We have to use whatever you submitted.
Understood.
That's also why we have the 2 submissions. It's so that we give you time to edit it before the finals.
Sure.
Okay? Did we have anything else?
It's gonna be just one clicker. Like where to the back, just be one clicker.
There'll only be one.
It'll
You
only
don't
one.
both need to be controlling one. You don't want to both be.
You don't.
You
don't.
Yeah.
If you notice, I have the clicker. So,
Gotcha,
yeah.
Yeah.
You don't just.
She's the boss.
I know.
What's
What
going
do
on?
I have to wear to the rehearsal day?
I'm sorry.
What do I have to wear to the rehearsal day?
Awesome question. Okay, so how many of you guys are used to wearing a shirt and tie, on the regular?
Just
This
in
guy.
case.
Not many
This
of us,
guy.
right? So when you go up on stage and you make it past the qualifier round and you're getting ready for the finals and you're up on stage, you're already nervous because, you're in front of the 300 people. This is a competition. The last thing you really want on your mind is, oh my God, this thing is choking me. Why didn't I prepare for this? It's up to you. You do not have to come in a full-on suit, shirt and tie. But if it's something that you're not necessarily comfortable with on the regular, I would recommend coming. I would recommend coming with that suit and tie just so that you get a feel on the stage how you'll feel wearing that sort of attire.
Yep.
Okay? We don't talk regularly with a blazer on and things like that. Well, you guys, I'm not sure how you guys are, but normally we won't walk around with a blazer and a suit and tie conversationally. So if it feels like it'll be something that messes with your mojo for the competition, I would recommend practicing with it. Practice, practice, practice. And if you don't do it at the qualifier, do it at home. Practice, practice, practice with what you're going to wear at the competition.
And,
women, if you want to wear a dress, that's fine. I do it to them every year, and they get so annoyed with me. But it is harder for them to mic you and understand that they're gonna invade your privacy a little bit, getting that mic on. They're clipping a little one here, but then there's a like a black box that you've probably seen people wearing. They need to attach it to something. So if you're wearing a dress, it makes it complicated for them.
So wear something to the qualifier that you're probably going to wear at the competition day.
We would recommend it.
Yeah,
It's
we
not-
would recommend
you
it.
don't
Yeah, you don't
have
have to,
to.
but we will recommend it.
But I know that when I go there, I'm definitely going to be wearing what I plan on wearing at the actual event because you get nervous. You want to be prepared for everything.
Just going to wear a tuxedo.
I'll work.
Yep.
Please.
So yeah,
Please.
wear what's comfortable. One guy last year, he wore had a sneaker selling business, and he wore a suit with really really clean sneakers. I was just like, yeah. And I was just like, oh, my man. So yeah. Did you have a question? Tommy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When
What's up?
is the qualifier on?
When?
Yeah.
It's next
This-
Wednesday.
It's the 6th,
Yeah.
November 6th.
Okay.
Next Wednesday, 2 to 6.
What time?
2 to 6. It's going to be 2 o'clock to 6 o'clock.
Yeah. 2 p.m. to 6 p.m.
That's a different time than we've been meeting. So if there's problems with that, you need to let me or something know if you're happy.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Immediately. Please.
Yep. ASAP.
Do you
Turn on,
have to do
Jessica.
the entire time? Or so you don't have to be. I'll be honest. You guys usually are because you want to see kind of what your competition's up to. So people usually like to be there. It might not take 4 hours. It depends on how many of you actually go to the qualifier round. We sometimes get a group of students who don't want to for whatever reason. So it just depends on how many of you are actually there presenting. But usually people end up staying because they want to see what other people did, get ideas. So it's see some of the questions, some of the feedback the judges are giving. So it's up to you.
What's going on?
How many people qualify?
Oh, theater arts. That's another good one. They will need to know where it is.
Oh, it's going to be in the theater. Yes, it's going to be in the theater's arts field. You said
How many people qualify?
how many people qualify? It's going to be, I'm going to say 6 to
7.
8 groups.
We would not allow more than 8 groups to go forward to the competition.
Right.
And
If
how
there
many?
aren't 6 great groups, it'll be 5. Like we just,
Yeah.
we're not going to put anyone on stage who's not prepared. We haven't had that problem before, but so usually around 6 to 8.
6 to 8 groups.
Yep.
And how many groups is in total right now?
I'm sorry.
How many groups is in total right
You
now?
This guy's already doing
He's
the
already
math.
ready. He's already
You
ready.
can kind of do the math out. There's a couple students who will only be at the rehearsal day because they're math and business institutes. That students they just left, and because they're part of this program, they can't compete with you guys,
Hmm.
so they don't actually go to the competition day because MBI funds the money, so that wouldn't be fair, right? So that cut 2 competitors out. I think that brings us down to 16 or 17
17.
students. And so in terms of the number of teams, it's about 50% chance that you'll make it onto the stage. I will say there's a grant we give to students, so you can apply to do this microloan grant. The new thing we started next year. Even if you don't end up getting to be at the final competition, you can basically request funding from MBI to help cover expenses if you're trying to do something like get business cards or something for your business. So everyone can get some money even if you don't make it to the competition day.
Absolutely. Yep.
If we don't qualify, we can participate for the next year.
Yes, why not? Why not?
Oh, no.
Absolutely.
If you don't qualify this year, can you participate next year
With a different idea.
With a different
with a different idea?
Yeah. You can't do a repeat business on stage.
What if you didn't make it?
Still can't compete with the same business. That's a good question.
Zero confidence.
Come on, guys. You guys are entrepreneurs, man. You got this.
Did everybody get their headshot in? Has everybody taken their picture? Okay, good. Good.
We'll have
Give a round of
photos.
applause for our awesome speakers. You can tell why they won national competitions, right? There you go.
It's good that we took those photos because some of you guys won't be here. We'll have something to remember you by. All right,
No,
guys.
no one's a failure.
No, no one's
Everybody,
a failure. Everyone's a
One
great.
more thing for all of you, MCG is committed to record the competition, so they're also going to be there rehearsing some of the second audio and stuff, so they'll give you some more details as well. So what they'll be doing. This will be something that they'll have available to you posted as well as
In the Rockville campus? Yeah. But this is the humanities.
Right, I know this is
Yeah. It's in front of you.
Or it's got that, yeah, I know that.
like
Thanks for coming.
So you guys picked 10, yeah?
Huh?
You guys picked 10 people?
No, 6 to 8.
Yeah, 6 days.
Six
And
days.
if it's 8, it has to be like really good.
It's tough competition.
Are we good?
I don't know how to stop it.
We'll see you guys next
All right,
Wednesday.
man. Have a good one.
Later, Jeff.
See ya.
Yes.
Where do you want to
Email me at mcrepresentation.
email it?
Uh,